Hey guys, it's time for another weekly garden tour. It's Sunday, June 16th. Not much has happened in the last week. It's been pretty busy over here, so this one's going to be pretty quick. Just going to give you a little tour of the beds and see how everything is growing. So let's take a quick look. So not much has happened with the first set of beds. Haven't really touched them since last week. Hopefully today I can get a chance to amend the soil and put some plants in the ground. Moving on to the tomato bed, I did replace these back two plants. They weren't going to survive the that frost we had about a week and a half ago. The rest of the plants look okay. The frost damage has delayed their growth a little bit, but hopefully everything will catch up. Next step is to stake them and start tying them up and pulling out the suckers. Again, the asparagus bed, this is all finished for the year. Plants are starting to leaf out. They are quite vigorous, and most people don't realize they're asparagus when they're at this stage. Now in the big pea and bean bed, still nothing for the beans. The peas are growing right along. The nice thing about planting them as dense as this is the peas have a tendency of choking out any other plant that comes up, so it really doesn't require much weeding. I'm going to go through and weed around the edges, but other than that, the weeds are usually choked out by the pea plants. Yeah, they're coming right along. Now looking down the broccoli and Brussels sprout bed, these have put on a lot of weight since last week. They're looking really healthy, growing quite quickly. I had to replace a few broccoli plants, they didn't make it. I always keep extra broccoli plants in case I have to replace some. It freezes well, so I don't really mind if I have an excessive amount of broccoli at harvest time. And in the onion bed, on the end, I've noticed that the carrots have just started to come up. Onions are still slow going. Again, this bed will be here till September when we end up harvesting. Without the weed guard down, you can see that the weeds come up really quickly, so I do have to spend a lot of time weeding this bed fairly regularly. Another job that will get done today. And the beets and the spinach are coming right along. Again, I have to go through that bed and weed it. There's no weed guard down there. I did have to replace a few plants here. I put in some Swiss chard. But again, everything seems to be doing quite well. A little bit behind, but that's all right. Now, one disappointing thing that has happened is I made the decision to remove all but 3 or 4 of the pepper plants. The frost damage that we had a week and a half ago, the peppers just weren't going to recover from that. I left in some of the ones that looked a little bit healthier, but most of them were replaced with broccoli plants. Again, they just weren't going to recover, and they weren't going to make it in time before the season was over. Now this bed, I did get a chance to fully enclose it, so the deer will now stop using my strawberry plants for breakfast, and hopefully they'll start putting out some leaves, and hopefully in a fairly short order put out some strawberries. Now the squash bed is still very much a work in progress. This is one of these things that has to get done today. I've got a bunch of squash, zucchini in pots, but they aren't going to make it much longer. I did manage to move the shed last weekend, but hopefully today, this is the first order of business for today, is to get these weeds out and get the butternuts, spaghetti squash, and zucchini planted. And next door to the zucchini plants, the blueberry plants are doing quite well. Again, this is only the second year that these plants have been here. Got to do a little bit of pruning on the center plants. However, the plants on the end are a different variety. They produce a little bit earlier in the season, whereas the center plants produce a little bit later. And they're looking quite good. We should get quite a few blueberries from those plants. So the cherry plants are looking quite healthy. I don't know if those cherry blossoms that I saw last week are going to amount to any fruit, but there's lots of new growth on the plants. So probably next year we'll get some cherries. And last but not least, the disaster that is the raspberry patch. I gotta get in here and just hack these things back and take out all the old growth. Probably not gonna happen this week, but maybe next weekend. Alright, that's it for this week. As you can see, I still got tons of work to do out here, but hopefully I can get a fair bit of it done today. Alright, see you next time.